Welcome to the Port Charles Update with your hosts, Mish and Mel. Hello.
Hey.
Hey, I've been waiting all week to tell you guys this.
Tell us.
I hope I'm not overhyping it. So,
Way to lower the.
oh yeah, 100%. I love to take you guys up and then right down like a roller coaster. So lately, I started to watch a new show. Okay.
Oh my gosh.
I guess with all the Morgan talk,
How could you?
What? Okay. So with all of those like Morgan conversations we've been having, I was like, you know what? Why don't I watch that show the guy was in that was popular? So I started to watch Good Trouble on Disney. Okay. So the thing is, these are all old shows, like the Good Trouble, like Wrapped. So I started watching Good Trouble. I'm so excited. It's been so long since I found a show that like I'm into, and it's also so many characters. So very soapy in that sense that you've got a lot going on. And so like I become addicted, and like every freaking show I like, of course Johnny likes it too. So then what is my show now becomes something he wants to also watch. Yeah. So one day, we're like setting it up, and like there's a part that it goes like suggested or maybe other shows that are similar. So right underneath, I noticed that there's a show called The Fosters, and I'm like, I recognize that. I think it was like popular on TV at a point. But then I also remembered that in the show that I'm watching, Good Trouble, which by the way, like Morgan hasn't showed up yet, so and I'm still like loving it, you know? But then I realized the characters, like the two sisters that come onto the show and their family is on the show, their last name was Fosters. And so me and Johnny are like, you think? Because I haven't watched any of these before. So then I click on the Fosters, and it was so insane. This is the show before that show.
Oh, it's the pre-show?
Oh my gosh. So in the show Good Trouble, it's these two girls that move to LA, okay? And they have siblings. So on the show, the siblings will come on. Even their parents come on, okay?
Okay.
So now I look at the Fosters, and it's the entire family. So now we're like 3 seasons deep at this point in Good Trouble. And we've gotten to know the characters as they are, but immediately certain references come to mind. So like they would say things, and I'm like thinking, okay, well that's, normal that in a show they're going to make these references, and maybe they'll circle back and kind of explain some of these statements. But realizing they're referencing their old show. Oh. They're just nods to their old show. That's not them going to dig deep into the character, because anyone watching would have known that they've come from a show already. So now we've actually put a pause on Good Trouble because we're now caught up in the Fosters, and we can't stop because we've already watched Good Trouble, and now it's so fun to kind of understand them, to see where they kind of came from.
I love that.
So now we're bouncing back and forth. So basically, I've discovered a show that I'm sure a bunch of people have already discovered, but it's been like super fun.
It's new, and then you're sharing it with me for the first time, and I'm going to add it to my watch list.
Yeah, so I'll let you know whenever like Morgan finally shows up on the show, because that's where he was at for a while.
Okay, cool.
Okay, so back to this show that Morgan's not on. So I just talked about a show that he's not on yet. And now let's talk about what he's also not on. Okay. So I want to start with Laura and Sunny. And I mean, I love Laura.
I do.
I love Sunny.
Yeah, I do.
But it's not like I have amnesia. You know what I mean? How am I supposed to forget the time that Laura and Anna discovered that Sunny was a criminal? Okay, how am I?
It was new information that they were relearning.
How am I supposed to forget that happened within the last year? And now you have Laura freaking out. But the thing is, rightfully so. It's not like there's anything wrong with her concerns. Like, that's what everyone else says, It's better to stick with the devil you know. And apparently the devil you know is against a lot of crimes. We don't know what his crimes are, but he's against a lot of other crimes. And he's been this like protector. And that's sort of the issue with the PCPD. It's like they want to fight Sunny, but they also have recognized that his position is also protective. And there's so many times where the PCPD has worked for him. So I just thought it was so bizarre watching the mayor talk to Sunny and be like, are you really going to do this to the citizens of Port Charles? And then what her main argument was like, at first, he practically killed him. Lucky. And I'm like, no, you don't practically kill someone. You just kill him. It's, He didn't practically, because Lucky is walking around the town, and not once has Lucky bumped into him.
True.
So I'm like, Lucky's fine. Lucky is in a bubble, and he's all right. So yeah, so that conversation happened where she finally relented and said, you know what? I give you crap about being a criminal. Now I'm trying to get you to remain a criminal. I guess you should have the right to live your life and move
Hashtag
on
friendship.
to this. Yeah, move on to this new chapter where you're like safe, I guess.
Okay, but here's the thing. Okay, so there's that part of the conversation. There's the history of how far she's come and realizing how this benefits them. So she's cool with it now and their renewed friendship. And then you have Sonny, who's really eye on the prize right now. He's like, my
Yeah.
main goal is to get out. Jen's is good enough. Good enough is good enough. And he's like, but Laura, you can't think about it like a mother. Like, yeah, there was almost murder that happened. There's kidnapping. There was like some beatings. Like, it's bad. Like, I get it. But like, put that out of your head for a second because I want to retire.
Big picture. Big picture here. But in all fairness, like Lucky was chasing danger, and not to side with Sidwell, but there just were no laws. So how
There were
did he
none.
break them?
Facts. Again, hashtag
So,
facts.
so far, he has been a law-abiding citizen. Okay?
Yeah.
He may have looked out onto the water when Sonny's penthouse exploded, but it doesn't mean he's responsible.
No, he just likes
No.
water, and he just so happened to see fireworks.
Yeah, it doesn't mean anything. No. So I just, look, at this point, I feel like I'm getting some hints because there was the conversation about Jen's, but then there was like a simultaneous conversation with like Laura and Jordan, I think. Was that this week also?
Yes, like they went to Lulu's house, which a
Yeah.
funny thing that Jordan said is like, well, Lulu accomplished a lot in a short amount of time. I'm like, girl, you don't even know.
That's also where Jordan experienced that like poisoning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a great house.
So
Weird
nice.
memories, though. Strange
Love
vibes.
it. Love it. But it was what they said in their conversation, which makes me excited. And I kind of feel like, all right, I get it now. Because, you know, the leap from Sunny to Christina was a really big one and would be sudden, especially with Sunny wanting to move quickly and given the position that Christina's in. Because when we were talking about this in a more ideal way, we saw it as sort of like, well, this idea that Christina would be ready, she would want to take it over, there'd be a reason she does, she gets in deeper, because they were already showing her kind of going down this darker path, especially with her
Yes.
vendetta against Ava, and then crossing the line to attempted murder and cutting the brakes. But we also had this other component that, like, somehow Rick would become aligned with Christina. So as Sunny is getting out, Christina's getting in, but somehow Rick would be an ally for Christina. I don't know why, but that was sort of one of my original thoughts on all this. But then with, you know, Sidwell making his move, given where Christina is in her storyline, like, I cannot see any of Sunny's kids or any local within, you know, of who we know taking over. But the Laura Jordan conversation said, if Sidwell does anything, I'll go after him. That's what Jordan said. She's going to be right there on his tail if he does anything illegal, and then they'll build a case. So then I was like, okay, this is interesting. You've contracted on this big bad wolf for a little while. It's going to be Port Charles under the law of somebody else. So what happens when it's not Sunny? And maybe because it's not Sunny, this is sort of where Christina or basically anybody else kind of comes in. And so the idea was it's who comes after Sidwell. And I think Laura or Jordan had said it. So I was like, okay, that's interesting. Who comes after Sidwell? So that's what I picked up on. So I'm kind of like interested for this era of Sidwell because I think there will be a Sidwell era before a local, before like the generational component of the mob takes over in Port Charles.
I kind of love it though. They're giving longevity. They're giving me hope for
Yes,
many, many more
exactly.
years of, you know, what this storyline has to offer. So like I'm really excited to see. Like, it's super crazy. Like, I know we make mention of this a lot, but the fact that I've been watching this since I was like 16 years old, when Sonny was just trying to navigate the mob and he was in his like
Wow.
infancy of setting things up, you know, he just had a strip club, guys. Like, it wasn't a big deal. So, and now to see him go through his life and retire, I'm like, oh my gosh,
Wow, you were there.
what have I done with my life?
Well, you were present for Sunny's career for the full ride. That's amazing. That's amazing.
I'm a dinosaur, guys.
But it is. it is really cool to kind of experience this. And it's exactly what you said. It gives you like, you're excited for the stories to come because you're watching it and you know it's generational and you're watching things change, but you kind of have this difficulty watching, but what's going to happen? What's going to happen to all the people and all the things that I knew? And I feel like they're definitely setting that up and it is exciting to watch. The one thing that kind of got me though was I felt, and I don't know, but I felt like somehow they were fusing the like Sidwell Sunny transition with Gio for a minute because of the Tracy Jason conversation. I'm like, what is going on here? For one, the fact that I'm watching a scene with Jason and Tracy.
I know, it's wild, always.
Like, I'm just like, that has got to be fun. You know, for so long, Jason was sort of in this box. And now that he gets to really be a Quartermain and to like, he's basically head of the Quartermain household along with Tracy. And it's like the coolest thing to see. And so she brings him into the loop on the whole Brooklyn thing.
Yes.
And then she uses it to strike a deal. Like we saw what she was willing to do to make, you know, to work with Drew. But then she's like, I could take it easy on Sunny. And that's where I was like, okay, what's happening here? Because it's like Tracy's making this offer. Right? She thinks she has leverage in this scenario. I could make life easier for Sunny and I'm willing to do that. But she doesn't know that there's a backup plan where Sunny takes himself out of the equation. And then your little crew that was brunching at the Metro Court, you'll have to figure it out amongst yourselves. Because while Tracy's chatting with Drew today, you know, like Ezra's part of that crew, but so is Sidwell. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So what are you guys going to do when you're fighting for peers and you're fighting for the location? And then a guy in your own team scores the peers and then says, I like the original locale. Thank you very much. You know what I mean? So whatever alliance they're having, it is going to break down. So
for sure.
Tracy's offer was relatively moot, but still Jason brought it to him and said, hey, there was this deal, wasn't comfortable. Okay, it's interesting that he relayed that information. But then I thought it was interesting because you set the stage for this concept of Tracy endorsing Sunny. And while the peers may have their own resolution, I can't help but see Tracy put in a position, depending on the candidates, right? There was a whole discussion today about, hey, can we work together to get rid of Sunny without including Ezra?
Exactly.
And Drew was hell bent on collateral damage, and he didn't care if it was Laura. But I'm starting to think I'm starting to think that maybe Laura may not be part of the next race.
Okay.
And if Sunny is not a criminal anymore, as she had told Gio, the only problem I have with Sunny is that. And if he was who you say he was, then I wouldn't have a problem with him. So we all know that Tracy and Sunny share Gio. And so I could see at some point, depending on who the opponent is, if Ezra's still in the game and Laura for some reason, I don't know, who knows? Maybe if Drew gets pushed out of Congress, there's that next step for Laura, and here comes in Sunny. I could see Tracy endorsing Sunny for mayor.
That's really true, because so much would have changed in that short period of time, right?
There is one thing that scares me, though, about Drew and about his visit to Tracy.
Okay, he was weird. Okay, what do you think?
I don't even want to say because I really don't want it to be true. Like, I feel that when it comes to Drew, sort of to what I think Nina said, like everything rolls off of him, right? Every time someone does something to him, he gets wind of it. And what scares me is that, like, especially with the custody, which we'll talk about in a little bit, like it's looking like this could be that breaking point. Okay, but the other thing that got me scared is like, what if it's not? You know, what if everything turns around for Drew? Because Isaiah overheard Portia. What if whatever Isaiah overhears Portia say takes it back to Weeping Willow to help her, air quotes? I don't know. I'm just looking at every worst case scenario because I was getting happy about Drew's downfall, but now I'm scared that he never will fall. And that led me to this thought that I'm hesitating to share, is that when Tracy walked away, she said, it's Monica's house. Like, he wouldn't stop trying to add to the deal. It's like, she's like, no, I gave you a deal for the name. And you just think that because you're insisting on these other terms that you're going to get them. No.
Yeah.
And so she made it clear that Monica's who you had to go see. And then she said, it's Monica's house. And then she mumbled, Alan gave it to her.
Yes, I love that.
Then she walked away. And then Drew was going to leave, but then he didn't. And I thought, where is he going? But we all know that Monica's unwell. Not that I feel that this could be
Oh boy.
accomplished in one meeting, but what
Uh-huh.
if she's not well and he goes to visit her and somehow gets her to give him the house because Monica gave it to
Don't
him?
say it. Don't.
I'm
Don't. Because
sorry, but that's the fear I had. Because
it's making me feel ill.
he was all creepy. Like I want access to the grounds. Like for what? You just bought a big house.
Right?
What do you like? You want to go hang out there? I thought you wanted the name. Like what is it that you want? I want access to the grounds, the house, the everything. So I'm scared, but at the same time, it's like how would Yuri ever leave Monica unprotected from Drew?
And I'm still holding on to what I think you brought it up earlier that, Portia, well, in the past couple of weeks, that Portia, is going through his whole file that in the end she will find something that doesn't make him a quartermain in the end. And that will just be the last blow to his ego.
Yes, that could be one of those like punches, all those things that we're waiting and kind of hoping for. And I mean, look,
Yeah.
Ava went hard. It was
She
like,
did. She had to. She tried once and she's like, I'm not letting this opportunity pass me again.
but it doesn't make sense. Like when Portia's like, how would I explain it now? Well, there was literally zero reason to hide it from him in the first place.
But I loved how Ava explained this blackmail. She should really give like master classes because she's got blackmail like down. She
I
really
know.
knows how to do it and teach other people.
Well, given her antics this week, right?
Yeah, so
So
bad.
okay, so when Spinelli was called to Alexis's office, this thought came to mind. Because I know she called him to do a special favor, and I love like all of the nods to
Yeah.
Sam. Like that was freaking amazing. But what occurred to me was, wouldn't it make sense? Because when you watch any primetime law show, they usually have like a PI on staff.
Exactly.
And in my head, even though I hadn't even seen the scene, but just simple previews of Spinelli with Alexis,
Yeah.
in my mind, since Spinelli has been back, he's been working with Diane and he's contracted as the firm's PI. So this is a backstory just in my mind.
I love it.
The fact that Spinelli is back in town, I don't know why that's not a thing and that's like not his job and
I
why we're not
totally
seeing
agree.
him go through the law firm more. Their conversation was really cute, especially when he went on a little rant about cybersecurity.
Yes.
I'm going to have to say it was my favorite line when Alexis, her delivery, everything. When we're done, that's all I'll be thinking about. It's just very cute. But he got her some info.
He did get her some info, and I was really excited about it, but I knew something was awry the minute Rick showed up.
I mean, I don't know if he figured it out because of how Alexis was acting, that he like texted Ava and moved fast. You know what I mean? So part of me wonders if that was in response to his interaction with Alexis that he got whiff that maybe she could have a leg up on them. Or if it was planned ahead. That I highly doubt that. But the conversation was really interesting. Did you catch what Rick said?
Maybe, but why don't you repeat it for me just in case?
So in their conversation, it's just funny because like when Ava comes, she really twists the knife and Alexis is sort of forced to give her attention she doesn't want to give her. When Rick showed up, clearly he did not have that same power in any shape or form.
Yeah.
And Alexis wasn't wrong. And this is where we were confused because in our minds, doing all of this in consideration of Molly, and especially with our ideas about like Rick maybe leaning more toward Christina at a point, like a possible rift between him and Ava. It was interesting because she put him on the spot and gave him an out because he is so consumed with his feelings of Alexis, of Christina, that he hasn't really thought that he's actively doing something to hurt his daughter. And he's justifying this by, pointing the finger at Alexis. Like he's not
Yes.
taking accountability. And we all know that he felt something when Christina was making a Benz last week.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
So when she confronted him, he made it clear. He's like, yeah, like, I hear you. Me and Ava are in this together. And yeah, Ava doesn't care about what happens to Molly.
Truly.
And I'm just like, how is that a foundation for a relationship?
Honestly, like, I don't even understand how it went this interrelationship zone.
I just don't think that Alexis will let Rick go down with Ava.
I don't think so either, honestly.
You know, like, on it, like, you have to protect Molly. And I think that's the whole point, right? I think Alexis is in a place where she can understand that even though she made the best choices she could in the moment while raising Christina and Molly, and it landed her with whatever energy she had, it sort of went to Christina. I think it finally hit her that, intentional or not, there was a negative impact to Molly.
Yes.
And Molly had to experience that, regardless of her intentions. And I think that's been brought to the forefront for everybody. And I think everyone will be careful at making decisions with Molly's best interests at heart. So I think that's going to get really messy and ugly and dark. You don't want an enemy out of Ava. But I am starting to think that, like, you know, Rick's going to turn on her. Rick is going to kind of work with Alexis, possibly Christina. Like, I was so thankful that Lucky bumped into Alexis and they finally know what the other knows.
I know, because, I mean, even when Lucky was having that conversation with Christina, they're great allies, they're good friends, but he also knows that her life is going to explode at any moment. So I'm glad that he, like, caught on to certain things, that he even asked Christina, like, is it possible that your mom knows? Like, no, it's totally impossible. How could she know these things? I'm like, oh boy.
This girl can compartmentalize. Like, the fact that she won't shut up about what Alexis tried to do, because you keep opening the door for people to go, well, why would she do this?
Right?
And it's like, I don't understand. It's like the last time she was like, why, Mama, why? She literally went to the graveyard and said, get a load of this. Guess whose bracelet I got? It's like, how are you not putting two and two together? Like, it's really delusional.
Yes.
But she's lucky. She's got Alexis. She's got Lucky. So I am really excited for a Lucky Alexis team up. And I'm wondering how long it'll be before anyone loops Christina in.
I feel like it's going to be a while.
So
for her own, the good of her own self.
Yeah. Like, so basically it looks like the plan right now is they're going on this car hunt. Who can destroy their car first destroys the leverage.
Yeah, I can't wait to see the battle.
And it's just the fact that Lucky picked up on that snippet that Liz shared about the insurance company.
Yes, so good.
And then you got Elizabeth all to Lucas. Rick's car is sexy.
I cannot.
Like, what is going? Like,
wait, my favorite line was out of that scene, and I don't want to forget.
So say it.
I'm trying to find it. So Lucas is just looking at her after she says that comment.
Yeah.
And he's like, what did he say? He goes, that's much too cruel for someone with a face like yours.
Yes, I have that too. That's so good. I have another line too. It's from earlier. It's from between her and Rick, because I really like their banter when he pokes around about Lucky.
Yes.
And she's like, why? Like, was he getting annoying? Was it this? And then she said something like, well, you know, like, we would kill each other. And he's like, yeah, killing each other is our thing. And I was like, what? Like, what in the Eva do you not understand?
I know.
Like, I don't like, are you dating this woman or not?
We don't know.
But it was interesting because, like, we see Elizabeth sort of, like, hesitate or make these, like, we see all this progression with her and Lucky, all this bonding, but then she'll, like, out of nowhere make comments about Rick. And, I mean, look, she explained herself a little bit more, the idea of being fearful, and I get it. And the best part is that she's conveying that. Like, she's conveying that. Because Johnny's like, something about her pace with her and Lucky. I'm like, no. I go, it's because she's acting like she's going at a normal human pace. She's not going at a soap opera pace. She's not delusional. She's not rushing back to the past. Like, Elizabeth is being Elizabeth. The Elizabeth she became. I go, she's being that, and she's being really realistic and practical. And while Lucky has been there for her, like she pointed out, like, there's been no conversation about, hey, are you willing to change your lifestyle and be sedentary with me? So I think it's fair that she's being like that, but they obviously need to have a conversation. But you can see how freaked out she is, and that's also why she's making those weird comments about Rick.
Oh, 100%. Like, and she was very open about her feelings, and I love that. Like, I love the fact that she said, you know, she's always loved him. Like, it doesn't matter who she's with, that love is different, but it's the fear. And we also experience that fear. We're like, we want Lucky to stay. We don't want him to go. So we all collectively understand where she's at.
Exactly. A lot of us are asking ourselves, is it realistic for Lucky to be there, contractually speaking? Can he? Will he? Will he invest in all of us? Is he devoted to us?
Exactly. If not, I'm not investing in him. I'm not going to cheer for him, but I'm not going to cheer for Rick either.
But the thing is, I feel like Elizabeth represents, like, I wish I was the man who could be with an Elizabeth. And that's the whole vibe, right? Like, Christina offered this olive branch. There's a picture of, like, oh, can I hang out with my daughter and her mom? Because I just made a truce with her mom. Her sister Manister, can I hang out with them? Because that crew, that's an Elizabeth crew.
Yes.
So I feel like that's the life he's itching for. So I you know, whoever gets that contract, we'll see.
We don't know. I can't wait though.
Okay, so Christina goes and talks with Dante again. Hey, my mom tried to commit me. Why? And then she lists all these legitimate reasons. And then they proceed to go, not fair, eh? Weird. So anyways,
Super weird, guys.
they talk about that. But then she drops a huge piece of information to a detective.
Like, why?
Like, I couldn't believe that she did that. But I got over it real fast when Rocco came home because this had never occurred to me before.
Okay.
Christina is like the biological aunt of both Danny and Rocco.
I know.
Does that make her their mom? No, I'm kidding.
Stop.
Because it's like they're brothers. They're related to so many of the same people. How is their DNA not related? So my mind was blown. My mind was blown at that realization.
Fair. Yeah, I totally
And
get
do you
it.
know what else blew my mind? Johnny pointed it out, to be honest, because I was like, what? It hurt my brain so much because I was still computing Christina being their aunt, while Johnny points out that Donna is Gio's aunt.
I love that. You posted about that and I was like, oh my gosh, that's so true. And she loves him already so much. She's just going to boss him around even more.
But I hope they play up that factor, though. You know, she's like the bite-sized aunt, and it really would be funny if they had scenes down the line where she's comforting him. You know like if he's sad, you know, that's normal. Little kids trying to make you feel better, giving you a hug, or just listening, or trying to give like kid advice. And it would be really, really funny if they actually had moments where Donna's giving Gio advice or helping him feel better. And the fact that, like, bossing him around, maybe, like, hiring him to play at her birthday party, having him play at other friends' birthday parties. But I find it hilarious that Donna is his aunt. And it would be really funny if he, like, actually called her as such. It would be so funny.
So cute. Those are the good parts, but there's a lot of crappy parts before the good parts come.
Yes, they're so bad. So look, Tracy talked to her. She said kill the story.
Tracy,
I just can't.
I can't either, but like before, and this is how I come for myself in those moments of Lulu scenes, and now apparently Cody scenes, is that, you know, Tracy was the I'm giving her so many stars. She was so compassionate, and she's such an amazing actress. Like the way she got through that scene, and the fact is, like, she is so connected to both of them, and they hold her in such high regards. It's just beautiful in the way that she's able to hold space for both of them, but also make Lulu understand that, and so many people tried. Like, you went through a situation, would you want somebody else letting your story out into the world that you didn't give permission to? And Lulu still had to think about it.
Yes, because she is a goldfish. So, I mean, at the end of the day, in one ear, out the other. And it's just, you know, after the entire talk, and it's just listening to her justify, kill my story. Like, she acts like it's such a big deal.
My career, I'm like, dude, one story, one.
I know. And I like that Tracy picked it apart and showed her how she was accountable. Like, you picked the story to start with. But at the same time, too, I'm like, Lulu's really special, like, debating about whether I kill the story or not. It's like, Tracy never had to talk with you. Tracy could kill the story, even if you didn't.
Right?
So I was like, you're just lucky that she's having this conversation. And then she runs over to Carly, intruding on her lunch. And I thought that was hilarious. Like, that's the only consolation, is watching, particularly with Carly and Lulu, watching Carly react to Lulu is so funny. The wildness. So her coming over, it's really comedic, and then she's pointing to Brennan like, I'm not alone. Hi. You know,
he's not invisible. Can you see him? Because I can see him.
You know, because she's the center. and she's going to intrude, and these are adults, and she's
Mm-hmm.
going to act like her drama is so crucial. And then their scenes ensued. What did you think about the Carly Lulu scenes?
Oh my God. But I love that Carly is just so honest with her. Like, I can't believe we're still here. Like, I can't believe we're still talking about this. And even when, she couldn't wait to drop the bomb to Carly that, she suspects that it's Gio. And even with that information, like, Lulu is so desperate to get somebody on her side. And Carly is just telling her, factually, like, you can't do this. It is not your place to do it. And I mean, that's all Lulu did ever since she got a hold of this information until she found Cody. So I loved what Carly had to say, but we all know, and I am looking forward to the moment that Lulu finally spilled the beans so people can see her for who she is.
My favorite line was when Carly said to her, I can't believe I left Jack so you can play God with other people's lives and decide to tell me about it. It was
It's
just,
so amazing.
but it was just such an amazing callback to Lulu's conversation with Laura. That you had this deep, emotional conversation with Laura. And you were stunned when your mom accused you of playing God. And then Carly references the same line. And it just goes to show. So if her mother can't get through to her, and Carly, who has experience in these areas, Carly knows, you know what I mean? Like, this is so pointless. It's literally you playing God and actually deciding to tell me about it, because you don't want me here to debate this. You don't want my advice.
Exactly.
You just want to loop me into your inside thoughts, and I didn't really care
Truly.
to. And it was just, and I loved how she pointed out all decide. And I really felt like a lot of that conversation, it feels like stuff we would want to shout and what we would want to say. So I found the scene incredibly satisfying between Carly and Lulu, even though we know she's going to do whatever she wants. But there was a part which was so silly. Like, Carly just couldn't care less. And it's the evolved Carly, right? Like, we knew that she wasn't always
Yes.
like this. She's just grown. And she's not supposed to have the same viewpoints as Lulu. And she's like, so you could keep this from Sunny? And she's like, yep, I feel bad, but I could. And the thing is, I'm like, Lulu, have you forgotten that you burdened Carly with this? You went straight away and
Yes.
told her, knowing that this person, this grandchild, would be connected to Sunny. She's already been keeping the secret. Why does it shock you that
Exactly.
she's like, yeah, I would keep keeping the secret?
Because you made me, and I know how to make choices better than you.
Oh my gosh. And like, even when she even had she even connected with Laura again. It's just
I know.
it's all the little lies, right? Like with Tracy, because like there were certain things she was holding back on, certain things she was misrepresenting, and she
Mm-hmm.
continues to do that with Laura. Cody even called her out on that. I just think when she was having brunch with her fam, I'm like, how do they tolerate her? Because it's like
Honestly.
the way she gets on about Liz and Lucky, and you have Lucky giving her looks where he gets guarded,
Yes.
and you have Laura looking at Lulu being like, don't touch that. Don't make fun of it. Don't anything it.
Yeah.
But then when they were alone, she wanted to follow up on the article. And Lulu, it's like, this is what a reasonable person would say, but it's a cover for Lulu. It's just a cover. She's like, I killed this story because things with Rocco gave me pause.
Huh? Sure,
And I'm
yeah.
just dying. And then what she said, she's like, writing the article might hurt people. I'm like, this girl can lie, yet she cannot stop ranting about what a good liar Brooklyn is. And
Frustrating.
and it's like, instead of saying, hey mom, someone found out I knew about the thing and forced me not to. And I'm like, it's just ridiculous. The article could hurt people, so I'm not going to write it. I'm just going to go straight for the jugular. I'm just going to drop a bomb. So, I mean, it's so funny how this week was a summary of all the feedback so far. So there was like a touch base with Laura. There was a quick convo with Tracy. Again, back to another conversation with Carly. So just showing everyone's opinion. And then she goes to the Brando's garage turned cafe. Really
Yes, wasn't
pretty.
that also the cafe that
Joss was in.
in another country? Was that one?
Wherever she was training.
Yeah, yeah. That's
And then
true.
I think they just switched the decor. They're like, now we're back. I don't know. Okay, so they're there, and she's talking to Cody. I mean, look, I didn't know where this would go because he came in strong at first. He's like calling her on her lies, saying, "I'm tired of catching you in the lies." And And in my head, I was curious, how will this conversation go? Because the only person who knows who the baby daddy is was Carly.
Yes.
Laura literally has no details, and Tracy has half the details. And I thought this was interesting. Okay, Lulu is about to have a conversation with Cody, who knows Dante, who has a
Yep.
relationship with Dante also, and kept the secret. So I was like, okay, well, where is this going to go? Because he's the one who literally drove Brooklyn. He knew she was pregnant. Dante's also his friend, and literally just did a favor for a friend and stayed out of it for literally like 22 years. And I'm like, okay.
And well, it's like she's just yet burdening another person to fulfill her goal of somebody believe me, somebody be on
Well,
my
yeah,
side.
she was searching for an ally. She's like, finally, someone sees things my way. And I'm like, really? So the first person who's not a mother, who couldn't understand
Exactly,
the
exactly.
position
Thank
Brooklyn
you.
was in, sided with you.
And who
Shocker.
also made some terrible decisions and is as impulsive as Lulu.
Well, yeah, he's the one who announced to the world who Sasha's baby daddy was, because that was
Yeah.
accurate.
And so much his business.
But the thing is, he did it because he saw a hand put on her belly.
Oh yeah.
And Lulu just has a gut. I mean, she's not wrong, but still, she's like, I have a gut feeling. It's just Gio. I think it's Gio. And I'm like, you guys are perfect for each other.
So here's the thing. They're going through this like long conversation and all I kept shouting at my TV is DNA. Did anybody, like, I'm scratching my head here. I'm like, you can get a test done. She's like, we have to find so-and-so. And we have to fly to LA. We got to get in that room. I'm like, what is happening?
It's just so funny because I think it was last week. She's like, she realized it. She's like, Gio is Brooklyn's son. And then her next step was, I need to find out where Lois was the day Gio
Yes.
was born. And I was
Yes.
like, okay. And now today she's like, the key to this is finding out where Camilla was the day Gio was born, what she was doing, track her movements. And I'm like, how are you going to find out where she was and what she was doing?
Why?
Again, like, why bother do what everyone else has ever done? Snag a hairbrush.
Right?
Nope. but all of that too. Like Cody knew all of this, but then for him apparently everything changed once he found out that Brooklyn kept the baby and didn't tell him. But I'm just curious. You gave her a ride. She never really told you anything. You made a lot of assumptions. So now
Yes.
apparently you expected her to
Like he's owed this information.
Yeah.
That's the part that's really difficult for me to understand. Like Cody's both of their friends. He did something. Like he made a choice at some point and then she made hers. And
Yeah.
then that's the end of it. And that's why like Cody and Lulu in the end, they might end up together for a period of time because he's going to be the only person that's going to be there to support her because they understand the wildness of what's going on in each other's heads. But the reality is it doesn't have to do with either of them.
Well, I'm going to reference Laura. They both have the privilege of perspective to be like, what would I do? And what do I think about this? Because look, you did this favor and you could have followed up with Brooklyn, but you never did. You never asked. That was also your choice. Your choice, to my
Exactly.
understanding, was my friend told me this really deeply personal thing and she asked me for a favor for a ride. She told me why and I did it, no questions asked, and then I moved on with my life. So that part, but it's just everything that came with that. You know, he starts off, you know, confronting her about her lies, saying they're all my friends. What you're doing is not okay. You're poking around in things that don't belong to you. And then he starts telling her, you know, I was lied to most of my life. And I'm like, yes. And you knew that when you came to Port Charles. You also knew that when you found out you were Mac's son. And even though you were lied to most of your life, you did not want to come out to Mac until you were ready. But now you want to throw this knowledge onto Gio and Dante because you think you're doing them a favor. Like, it's just so ridiculous.
They're both cuckoo bananas.
But it's also this is the part that I hope really comes through when Lulu drops the bomb, and I hope it's public. I hope everyone's there, and I hope she amplifies her belief that Brooklyn is the villain and hid Gio, because that that is the main thing, because not only was it just none of her business, she's debating whether or not Brooklyn knows, and the fact that doesn't even matter. Like, it doesn't bother you that you told her that she had a boy when she didn't know. Like, not knowing that made it exponentially easier to kind of go through life, and the more details you give, it made it so much harder. And I just, Like, she clearly doesn't care. Like, this is the part that I feel that I really don't understand. Like, why is it so important that Brooklyn be the villain in like Lulu's story? Like, according to Lulu. Like, this is, for me, I'm like, you feel the way you feel, but like, why can't you both be characters in separate stories? Like, she's really obsessed and she keeps elevating the role of Brooklyn, like the role that Brooklyn has in her life. And that's the part I can't understand. Like, can you not just exist?
I guess she can, but like you said, it's annoying to watch, but at the same time, I also want her rage to amplify. Like, I almost want like her to have this huge verbal throwdown with Brooklyn, but with Brooklyn not saying anything. So all people are watching is Brooklyn's reactions. People who know her really well will see that she has no idea what the heck is going on. And Lulu just kind of at the point where she has exploded, gives away the Gio secret, accuses Brooklyn of lying about how much she's a good liar, and just look at her right now, like really, like legit losing her mind. And then Cody physically pulling her away out of the room, and then everybody goes to Brooklyn. But Lulu sees this as she's getting pulled out of the room.
No. Before she gets pulled out, like my concern here is it's going to be messy. I mean, frankly, at this point, given the way Dante's behaved, I don't really care about his reaction
I don't either.
to Brooklyn having lied. Because at the end of the day, she didn't know it was Gio. She didn't know where her child was. And what was the point of burdening Dante with this? And I mean, look, I think in time, hopefully he'll get that, but who knows? The other part to it too is that if this comes out, this is where everyone turns on Lois as well. Because at the end of the day, while Lulu doesn't understand that this was something that happened to a 16-year-old, the adults do understand that fact. And a lot of the adults, like Tracy immediately questioned Lois in this scenario. And so for me, I want all the players to be there. I want Ned to be there. I want Sunny to be there. But most importantly, I want Laura to be there. I want her to witness this. But before everybody goes at Lois, I would like Lois to have a chance to kind of go at Lulu and step up for Brooklyn. That's the part where she takes accountability and said she had nothing to do with this, and kind of really, in her own Lois way, even though she knows, she knew that there was a cost to the secret, a cost if it came out. So, I mean, I would like that moment, because we've never had a confrontation between Lois and Lulu. Like, no run-in, no nothing.
True.
So I'm hoping we're saving it for this blow-up. But I can't wait, and I hope it's done really well, because, I mean, it's a lot of conversations, a lot of interactions, but I really hope it's a satisfying one. And I'm also curious about, like, how Tracy would react. Because it's like, because it's so complex, right? Tracy, too, wants to find her grandson. And she'll be thrilled learning it's Gio. But Tracy will also be upset at maybe watching the version of Lulu that Brooklyn keeps talking about. It's not that Tracy doesn't believe her, but I don't think anyone's really experienced it. It's kind of like when Nina was doing all that stuff in secret. So yeah, there is a part of me that wants everyone to see that side of Lulu toward Brooklyn that she kind of does so privately and kind of brushes off. Oh my gosh. So in that case, I hope Maxie's there too.
Yes, has to be. Oh
my gosh. It's going to be good. It's going to be good. I hope so anyway.
It has to be. Like, I'm just waiting for this.
So in terms of secrets coming out, Curtis put 2 and 2 together.
I thought about you the whole time. Like, how does that make you feel?
First of all, it was shocking. And what was confusing was Jordan saying, you have really good instincts. And I'm like, really? He has good instincts. The guy who went to his ex-wife for advice on his current wife, because all he does is ping pong between the two.
I think she said it also to get him off her back. So, because she's very strategic, and she's like, I don't want to be involved in your like marital crap.
But he said, I respect your feelings.
Yeah.
But you're the only ex-wife that I can talk to about my current
that
wife.
I hang out with, guys.
He tried, and she was like, you need to talk to Portia directly. So he took that advice to heart and spoke to Nina first.
And through the whole week, he never got back to Portia.
But what confused me was like, Nina, you're working with Portia for a reason. Like, I know that Portia didn't give much details, but I was like, what's happening here? You know he's blackmailing her.
Okay, like, but was she like acting? Or did she not know?
I don't know. It was really convincing. She acted like she has never coordinated anything with Portia before. She's like, I don't get it. I don't know. Why would Portia do that? That makes no sense. And I'm like, what is happening right now?
Right.
But yeah, that I like again, I hope I like because I was hoping Curtis, not Isaiah, would walk through the door, but for Isaiah to hear, given that he just came off of a very Delulu conversation with Willow, like you know
Yes.
what I mean? Like he's the neutral guy. And again, this is another character desperate for an ally. And I just couldn't get over the Looney Tune stuff coming out of her mouth. She's like, "Look, Michael is a really good father, but I fell in love with my lover. And I think that Michael should just give away his kids so I can have a new family." The fact that she used the words new family,
I know. It's
I couldn't believe it.
bananas.
So you cheat on Michael and the cost should be him giving up his kids so you don't feel bad about it. So you can like have this little family of four sitch, two-parent household and like pretend that's life. I like that Isaiah called her on it. At one point he was like, where do the kids fit in all this? Because she's focused on her romantic life. And then he kind of made her
Yes.
say it. Andrew. So they deserve to be with you, Andrew. And Michael doesn't deserve to be in his kid's life at all. And like when he realized that she was going for sole custody,
Mm-hmm.
I was just like, Willow, ugh. And then the meeting earlier, that was even funnier, just contrasting Diane's meeting, which, Kate, did you feel anything odd about how that interaction started when Diane walked in with Carly and Jason?
Not really. Why?
Well, because for me, I'm like, I feel like it's been a minute since Diane was all like, Carly, you messed up. Like, I think that, like, to me, I felt like, whoa, did I just time travel for a sec? Like, because we have the Carly that deals with Lulu, and then there was the Carly in those scenes with Jason and Diane. And it's like, you know, when you see old friends, you kind of like revert to back in time a little bit. And I felt like,
Yes.
what just happened? Did she just like regress to like a different version of Carly? Because that's not the dynamic, let's say, between Carly and Diane over the past few years, let's say, without Jason. But that
Very
whole
true.
Carly got into shenanigans again. I was like, okay, laid on pretty thick there. Okay, sure. And then I love how in 2 seconds, Diane's like, yeah, that makes sense. That's a strategy. I can handle this. Like after she makes everyone feel bad, everyone feel like
Right?
there's no play to be had here, then she's like whipping out the strategy. Meanwhile, Drew is telling
He's
Willow,
got one of his own. A great one, guys. Super great. Gather around the
"Pe-
campfire.
people fall in love all the time and judges know that."
They totally do.
Yes.
They're like supporters of love, guys.
I was like, absolutely. The last thing judges need is evidence. Like, that's just what they don't need. And he was like, Michael, he has stayed in contact with his children, but never through Willow, so it doesn't count. And he's getting medical treatment. That is child abandonment. And I'm like, and then I'm watching Rick's face, and I'm like, do it. Just do it. Use the
Just do
strategy.
it.
Do
Yeah.
it. But that's where I get scared because, like, I thought, okay, this is the breaking point. Willow's going to lose the kids, and then we can get to, like, deprogramming her brain. Because I want to see that. What are you going to do? Is he going to be so amazing now that you've lost your kids? But even
I
weirder,
know.
actually, I'm sorry, even weirder was when she got served and she's like, a divorce petition? Like, yeah, like, what do you mean? And then she's telling Isaiah, I'm not going to meet Nurse Corinthos. I'm like, they're not wiping your memory. You'll still remember her
I
being a
know.
nurse. What is wrong with you? Like, what is wrong with you? She's like, what am I supposed to do without a man's name attached to me? Am I supposed to use my own? Like, I think
Oh
she was
boy.
just so lost. But like
Yes.
that, or she just does not want to give up that ring. Like, I am just so
Oh,
confused
so
by this. It's
frustrated
like,
about that.
is it not fun if Drew's not your mistress? Like, it's just not fun for you, is it? Like the fact that she's like, I want to be with Drew. I want to raise Michael's babies with him. But I want to be married to him, and I don't want to let him go. But I just couldn't. I wanted to smack her. I wanted to smack her. I'm like,
Oh,
just give me the
huge.
ring. I'm really irritated right now. Like the fact that she's so shocked that he's divorcing her. And like the worst part is, and you know, I have obsessed with this ever since the beginning of this storyline, ever since her affair with Drew was found out. What have I been complaining about? How is it possible they've not had one conversation? How is that
Right?
possible? And then what does she say this week? He's doing this without one conversation?
I was like, what's happening? I definitely have to give early stars to Nina for her face acting because it was
So
so
good.
fun watching her react to everything coming out of both of their faces.
Absolutely. Like that was super fun. So the thing is for me, I'm like looking forward to this custody case. Like I've
Oh
never
yeah, same.
before, but like I hope it's going to be as like epic. Like I really hope they're going to run with this strategy because at the end of the day, like when Carly was relaying the information to Sunny, like it doesn't matter that Willow believes him. It doesn't matter that he's a congressman. It doesn't matter that he's going to paint this picture of abandonment. The judge is going to look at what were his injuries, why this medical
Yes.
institution over the other. Nobody's choosing a medical institution because they need to be away from their families. That's a downside to that. And then all the videos, like the fact that he slept with Willow in the kids' nursery, and there's a video of that,
Yes.
and that there's like another video, like you know what I mean? Like there's a pattern there, and I mean, look, even Nina is worried about what's gonna happen, but I don't know what to think. Just the fact that Willow spoke with Isaiah and Isaiah standing behind Portia's door.
I
And then
know.
you have Nina trying to do damage control by going to Carly. Even funnier though, I'm like, wait a second. So Sunny's going rogue? The person who goes rogue never goes
Apparently.
rogue to be reasonable. So he's like, let cooler heads prevail. And I'm like, Sunny is amazing like that because that's how he deals with Christina. He makes it
True.
seem like they're on the same level. He's like, I believe in you. I know
I'm a
you're
cool
like
dad.
I know you're capable. You know what I mean? Like he treats her like she is, and I'll just stop there. But with Willow, he's
Yes.
calling her a cool head. It's a stupid head. It's not a cool head.
I know.
She's just all over the place, like really blindly believing it. Like when she was talking about Drew to Isaiah, like he'll protect us. He'll protect me and my kids. It's like it's your job to protect your kids. And this is her.
Exactly. Thank
When
you.
Michael didn't want to talk to me, I was like, I knew I had to protect the kids. And I'm like, seriously, all evidence points to he loves his kids, wants to be there for his kids, but wants zero to do with you. And you seem to think that like that's one and the same. You know what I mean?
I
Like she's like,
know.
you have to be able to talk to me to have the kids. And I was like, no, no. Mind you, he's not the one who rejected seeing her. And I don't understand how not one person would
I
follow up with
know. It's
Michael
driving me
and be like,
crazy.
hey man, like, how are you doing? Like, why did you reject that visit? Like, I find it so bizarre because apparently he's in contact with people all the time.
Yeah, it's really irritating me. It's of course going to come out during the case, but I am just
What?
mind blown that
But that's the
he
thing.
did
I
want to
also,
talk to her.
well, I hope somebody gets that information because right now nobody wants him to know what's about to go down. But the other thing too, I was like, what if Michael just shows up? Like, that's his reappearance.
I would flipping love it so hard.
And he's like ready. I don't know how he's ready, but he's ready. Like maybe he like contacted Diane. Maybe he's like up to speed. Maybe he just like has the internet and knows what's going on with Drew and Willow. Saw the press conference, right? Because remember, he saw the
Yes.
newspaper clipping ages ago and sent the divorce papers. And now she does this press conference. It would be such an epic return of like vicious Michael. I would love it.
Yes.
I would love it.
I'm up for it. You know, between like, we're just going to be finishing like the nurse's ball high, and then we're going to need, the trial. We're going to need Michael back.
But I really hope this goes our way, just like in the most dramatic way possible. Do you think Nina will get the kids? Like, do you think Carly will get the kids? Because Diane made a point of saying it could go to Nina.
For dramatic effect, honestly, and to make Willow hit absolute rock bottom, it has to be Nina who gets them and has to respect the boundaries, basically, or the rules stated by the court to not let Willow see them. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, there has
I
to be some
do.
sort of like battle there between seeing who Nina really is and not just using that kindness towards Nina when you feel she's useful towards you or only in the times that she supports you. Like, she needs to face reality, and I think that would be a really harsh way for it to happen.
I think that's really interesting because I was thinking of it like from the Drew perspective that Nina needs a leg up. Nina needs the balance of power. But I'm scared, right? Because of whatever Drew could have on Nina. But technically he has no proof. And
Exactly.
it could look very retaliatory at this point, trying to smear Nina even more. But I never thought of the balance of power between her and Willow also. She's been walking on eggshells around Willow. And
Yes.
now she might get to actually say what she wants to say and give her a lot of that tough love that she couldn't before because she was terrified. So I would be so interested in seeing that because it's true. Willow is only nice to her when Nina falls in line. Like, you have to support me. or it's like not going to work. Like you have to agree. Like I'm standing by Drew with everything. And I'm like, ill. So yes, that too, I feel like it has to happen that way, because if Carly has the kids and it's the same like 3 against 1 and Nina still has to tiptoe. So I think this is about Nina winning her battle, right? With Willow, even though she lost that battle years ago, I just don't think she's going to lose it this time.
I agree. It would be like a redemption for Nina as well, as to how far she's come, and oh my gosh, it is going to be outstanding.
It is. It is. What do you think is going to go down when Curtis confronts like Drew? Because I feel like he doesn't have the details, but if he just stays silent and lets Drew go, I don't know. What do you think?
I think Drew is also kind of at the edge of things. Like he's very all over the place, and he's just struggling with finding power and making, but also acting like a good person. So I do think he'll spill his beans. Curtis just has to stay quiet.
I can't wait to see that, because there's not one part of me that can predict how that conversation will go. Because those two really don't like each other, and they tend to really trigger the hell out of each other. So it's like, for the most part, I would say Curtis somewhat stays cool. But when it comes to Portia, like, I don't know that he could stay cool in that conversation. So, like, I'm scared, but so curious about where that would go.
Like, I feel like Drew is just going to extend the blackmail to Curtis and now put it in his hands. Like, if you don't do it, I want your wife's going to jail kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, like, I mean, Drew's not the only one, like, seeking vengeance or all that stuff. We also got Emma on a tear because she didn't get the job.
Know
I can't
what to make of, like, they're like, okay, act mad. She's like, okay, like, I'm super mad about stuff that happened 20 years ago, and now, like, you pair that chaos and her search for finding out who she is and what she's passionate about, and then you pair it with the conversation with Joss and Trina. Trina's like, oh my god, you got the job, like, Emma totally want that, but she's like super smart, she can get another job.
I know, but she's like, I didn't think I'd get it. She's like, you can't say that to her.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like, I just thought, okay, like a normal person, yes, you're upset, you feel like they would come around, but I think it's fair to say that Emma will never come around. And the whole thing about, like, it's your daddy, isn't it? Why is she so obsessed with Joss's daddy?
I know, it's bad.
I mean, your dad's pretty hot himself, and he has money. Like, your parents are doctors. I just cannot stand this crap where she acts like Joss is so privileged and she comes from nothing.
I know, it is bonkers to me.
Because that's the problem with Emma. She's like, I don't like that I come from a loving home with support. I'm rebelling against it. It's just so, I can't with the way that she sees Josh. She's like, you're so selfish, you're all these things. And I'm like, it's just, once again, you know, it's sort of like the whole Lulu syndrome. You know, she's so, like, her life depends on Brooklyn being a villain. Like, that's what she centers her world around. And Emma, unfortunately, for someone who's really lost, I don't think you're really ever going to find your way, because, like, she revolves around Jocelyn. Like, everything she does.
Yeah, her whole, exactly.
It's just insane. But also, the whole, like, Joss in there, I'm like, what is that crunchy technology you're using? And she's doing it so, like not forcefully, like she's just sort of flailing around the office, and I'm like, what are you scanning for? Like, what are you scanning for? Like, what does that machine even do? And then the guy breaks in and he does it too, and I'm like, what?
Well, like, okay, so it's, what type of technology are they just trying to tell us that they have very advanced, confusing technology that we as normies don't understand?
Maybe, because I don't know, they were scanning for devices. I don't even want to figure it out. I'm over it. I'm done. I want to go to Joss and Trina, because they shared a line. They shared a line together, okay? So they had a whole talk, you know, obviously about the whole Emma thing, and then they were talking about the fact that Trina wants to leave the nurse's ball right away to be with Kai. Kai's trying. Oh my god, wasn't that so funny? Kai's like doing like his therapy, and it looks like he's struggling to lift a leg, and then Stella walks in and he like turns around, no problem.
I know.
I was like, what is going on, dude?
I was like, well, somebody forgot their acting.
I know, they forgot they were in PT. And so they were talking about that. And, you know, just about like supporting one another. And all you hear is this: you were that person for me. And you for me. And I'm like, yeah, because your boyfriends keep dying. Like, that's why you're like, it was just really funny in that moment.
It was. I like, they're adorable, and they're like the silver lining of all the cuteness.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so I think we covered all of the bases. We talked about all of our stories. We talked about the things. We covered all of the stuff. We gave away some lines and some stars. Do you have anything left?
No, I don't think I gave away stars yet, but I
Ooh,
want to give away
stars.
stars to like Donna, Gio. Honestly, the Joss Emma stuff, it's ridiculous, but I was entertained by those scenes. Oh my gosh, how can we forget?
What?
I started Tracy for like, turns out she's performing at the nurses' ball, and from what I'm seeing, Anna's like in multiple performances.
Oh my gosh, Anna's moment with Chase, like basically don't fall in love with me. This is gonna be a spicy dance, and I like young guys now.
But it's like, it's so crazy, right? Because that's what she's like famous for. She usually does
Yes.
it with Duke. So I
Yeah.
was like, wow, okay, they're having her do with Chase and they want her to bring the heat with her employee. So
So
I'm down.
weird.
I'm down. I want to see this. But like all the performances, like I can't wait. I cannot wait.
Yes, super excited. Stars for everybody except for Cody and Lulu and Drew.
I'm gonna give a
Um,
star to the Brando's Garage Cafe.
okay, so what was your cutie pie moment?
Oh, do I have more than one? My cutie pie moment was definitely. Oh, it was Donna. Okay, so not only was it Donna with Gio, it was the moment she shared with her dad. It was when he was trying to talk to her and she ignored him and she gave him this like side eye and he said it's in her jeans and it was such a Carly look. It was just so well done. I think that was my cutie pie moment. For those of you who have littles to keep occupied, or if you want to have fun yourself, the Cutie Pie coloring book is available on Amazon.
Yay! Oh my gosh, folks, that's a wrap. Have a fantastic weekend. Bye.
Bye.